The Tesla Model Y was the best-selling car on the planet in 2024. Not the best-selling electric car, not the best-selling SUV, the best-selling vehicle of any kind, period. And Tesla just made a move that pretty much guarantees they're going to hold that crown in 2026. They dropped 2 brand new versions of their most popular cars. And when you look at the timing, the pricing, and the strategy behind this, it becomes crystal clear what's happening here. Let me break it down. So in early October 2025, Tesla did something that caught a lot of people off guard. They released 2 new vehicles with almost no warning. We got a new Model Y Standard and a new Model 3 Standard, both starting at significantly lower prices than anything Tesla's been selling recently. Now, the timing here is not random. This happened right as the United States federal EV tax credit ended. That $7,500 credit that made electric vehicles more affordable just disappeared. Overnight, every EV in America effectively became $7,500 more expensive from the buyer's perspective. Tesla knew this was coming. They've known for months, and their response was to create these new standard trim versions that bring the price down enough to counteract losing that tax credit. The Model Y Standard starts at $39,990. The Model 3 Standard starts at $36,990. For context, before these new trims launched, the cheapest Model Y you could buy was the rear-wheel drive version at around $45,000. So Tesla just dropped the entry price by $5,000. That's a significant move, especially in a market where the average new car transaction price in the US is now almost $50,000. But here's what makes this interesting. Tesla didn't just slash prices and take a loss. They removed features to hit these price points. The question everyone's asking is, did they remove too much? Or did they find the perfect balance between affordability and capability? Because if they got this right, 2026 is going to be the Model Y's year all over again. Let's talk about what Tesla is actually trying to accomplish here, because this is about way more than just making cheaper cars. The Model Y has been the world's best-selling vehicle. That's a massive achievement, but competition is heating up. BYD in China is pushing hard. Legacy automakers like Ford, GM, Volkswagen are all launching new electric SUVs. Hyundai and Kia are killing it with the Ioniq 5 and EV6. The market is getting crowded. Tesla's advantage has always been technology and performance, but as EVs become mainstream, price matters more and more. A lot of people want a Model Y, but can't justify spending $45,000 or $50,000 on it. That's where this standard trim comes in. By creating a $39,990 entry point, Tesla is opening up the Model Y to a much larger pool of buyers. We're talking about people who were looking at the Chevy Equinox EV, the Nissan Ariya, the Ford Escape, vehicles in that $35,000 to $40,000 range. Now the Model Y competes directly in that segment. And here's the genius part. Tesla's cost to produce these vehicles isn't that much lower than the premium versions. Most of the cuts are features that cost Tesla relatively little, but allow them to create price separation in the market. They're essentially segmenting their own product line to capture different price points without cannibalizing their higher margin premium sales. The premium rear-wheel drive Model Y is now $44,990. The all-wheel drive premium is $48,990. So you've got a $5,000 step from standard to premium rear-wheel drive, then another $4,000 step to all-wheel drive premium. Clear price laddering, people can choose their budget level. Alright, so what did Tesla actually cut to hit that $39,990 price point? Because this is important. If they cut too much, people won't buy it. If they cut the right things, this becomes the sweet spot. Let's start with range, because that's usually the first question anyone asks about an electric car. The Model Y Standard gets 321 miles of EPA estimated range. That's actually really good. It's basically the same as the all-wheel drive premium version has always had, so you're not sacrificing range here. The way Tesla accomplished this is interesting. They use a smaller battery pack. It's 69.5 kilowatt hours of usable capacity, compared to about 80 kilowatt hours in the premium versions. But the standard trim is also lighter and more efficient, so the smaller battery still delivers similar range. Peak charging speed is slightly reduced to 225 kilowatts instead of 250, but in practical terms, you're still adding about 165 miles in 15 minutes at a supercharger. That's plenty fast for road trips, so the fundamentals are solid. Where Tesla made cuts is mostly in comfort and convenience features. The glass roof is still there, but you can't see through it anymore. They covered the interior side with fabric. Tesla claims this makes it quieter and improves climate control, which might actually be true, but some people are going to miss that open sky feeling. The interior has cloth seats instead of all vegan leather. The heated seats are still there in front, but no ventilation. There's no second-row screen for rear passengers. The audio system drops from 15 speakers down to 7, and there's no subwoofer. A bunch of things that used to be automatic are now manual. The second-row seats don't fold automatically anymore. The mirrors don't auto-fold. The steering wheel adjustment is manual. Even the second-row air vents are manual now, and the seat adjustments are still powered, but you control them through the touchscreen instead of having physical buttons. Here's a big one that surprised people. The standard trim doesn't include autopilot. You get adaptive cruise control, but not the lane keeping and auto steering that usually comes standard on Tesla. If you want full self-driving, that's an $8,000 add-on. There's no middle ground enhanced autopilot option. The exterior changes are subtle. The light bars on the front and rear are gone. You've got standard LED headlights and taillights, but not the Matrix LEDs. The front trunk is less sealed and not waterproof anymore. The plastic quality in there is noticeably cheaper, according to people who've seen it in person. Now, all of this sounds like a lot of cuts, and it is. But here's the thing. None of these cuts affect the core driving experience. The Model Y standard still has the same performance, the same range, the same safety features, the same supercharger network access. It's still a Tesla. You're just giving up luxury and convenience features. So why is this standard trim so important for Tesla's 2026 strategy? Let me paint the picture. Right now, we're heading into a really interesting period for the EV market. The early adopters have already bought their electric cars. Now we're entering the mainstream phase, where regular people who just want a good, reliable vehicle are considering EVs. These buyers are more price-sensitive. They're comparing the Model Y to a Honda CR-V or a Toyota RAV4 or a Mazda CX-5. They want something affordable, practical, and reliable. They don't necessarily care about having ventilated seats or a premium sound system. They just want a good car that happens to be electric. The Model Y standard hits that target perfectly. At $39,990, it's competitive with a well-equipped CR-V or RAV4. And when you factor in fuel savings and lower maintenance costs over the life of the vehicle, the total cost of ownership actually favors the Tesla. Tesla has been teasing affordable vehicles for years. Way back in 2020, Elon Musk promised a $25,000 Tesla. That hasn't happened yet. But with the Model 3 standard starting at $36,990, they're getting closer. And when you adjust for inflation, that's actually cheaper in real terms than what Musk originally promised back in 2006. Here's what this means for 2026. Tesla now has a vehicle that can compete at multiple price points. The Model Y standard captures budget-conscious buyers. The premium trims capture people who want more features. The performance trim captures enthusiasts. They've got the full range covered. And this is happening right as competition is ramping up. Ford is struggling with EV profitability. GM is scaling back some of their EV plans. A lot of startups are running out of cash. Meanwhile, Tesla is dropping prices and increasing volume. That's a strong position to be in, heading into 2026. Now let's talk about what Tesla is up against, because the Model Y isn't competing in a vacuum. BYD is the elephant in the room. They're already outselling Tesla globally when you count all their EV models combined. The BYD Seal and the Atto 3 are solid vehicles at competitive prices, and BYD has manufacturing scale that's genuinely impressive. They're coming to Europe in a big way. and there's talk of them eventually entering the US market, though that's complicated by tariffs and political tensions. In the US market, Tesla's main competitors are the Korean brands. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6 have been very successful. They're good-looking vehicles with competitive specs and pricing. The Ioniq 5 starts around $42,000, so it's in the same ballpark as the Model Y standard, but it doesn't have access to the supercharger network, at least not yet. Tesla's charging infrastructure is still a massive advantage. The Ford Mustang Mach-E is still around and still selling, though Ford's been struggling with EV profitability. The Chevy Equinox EV starts at around $35,000, undercutting even the Model Y standard. But Chevy's having production issues and dealer markups are common. The Europeans are bringing new models too. Volkswagen's ID.4 has been around for a while, but isn't selling as well as they hoped. Mercedes has the EQB and EQE SUV, but those are positioned more premium. BMW has the iX and i4, also premium, so there's competition, definitely. But here's the thing. None of them have the combination that Tesla offers. The supercharger network is unmatched. The over-the-air updates mean your car actually gets better over time. The technology integration with the touchscreen and the software is still ahead of most competitors. And now, with the standard trim, Tesla's matching them on price too. The Model Y's biggest strength going into 2026 might actually be that it's a known quantity. People know what a Tesla is. They know about the supercharger network. They know the brand. That trust and recognition is worth a lot in a market where a lot of buyers are still hesitant about EVs in general. Let's look at some actual numbers, because this is where it gets really interesting. The Model Y was the best-selling vehicle globally in 2024. Not just best-selling EV, best-selling vehicle of any type, beating out the Toyota Corolla, the Ford F-150 everything. Tesla sold over 1.2 million Model Ys in 2024. That's insane for a vehicle that only launched in 2020. But 2025 has been tougher. Through the first 3 quarters of 2025, Tesla's overall deliveries were down about 6% compared to the same period in 2024. Some of that is due to the end of the EV tax credit. Some of it is increased competition. Some of it might be buyer hesitation due to Elon Musk's political activities, particularly in Europe where sales have been notably soft. So Tesla needs 2026 to be a bounce-back year, and the standard trims are designed to make that happen. By lowering the entry price and opening up to a broader market, Tesla is betting they can increase volume even in a more competitive environment. Industry analysts are projecting the global EV market to grow by about 20 to 25% in 2026. If Tesla can maintain or grow their market share, they could be looking at selling over 2 million vehicles next year. The Model Y would be the biggest piece of that. One thing working in Tesla's favor is production capacity. They've got gigafactories in California, Texas, Berlin, and Shanghai, all producing vehicles. They can scale production up relatively quickly if demand is there. A lot of competitors are constrained by battery supply or manufacturing capacity. Tesla's been building out that infrastructure for years. The other factor is margins. Even with these price cuts, Tesla still has some of the best profit margins in the auto industry on a per-vehicle basis. They're profitable on every car they sell, which can't be said for a lot of EV makers. That gives them flexibility to adjust pricing if needed to maintain or grow market share. Before we wrap up, I need to talk about the Model 3 Standard, because it might actually be the better deal here. The Model 3 Standard starts at $36,990, $3,000 less than the Model Y Standard, and it actually keeps more features. You get the same 321 miles of range and the same 69 kilowatt-hour battery, but the Model 3 goes 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds instead of 6.8. That's a full second faster. You're getting sports car performance for economy car pricing. The Model 3 keeps its glass roof. You can actually see through it, unlike the Model Y Standard where it's covered. The interior doesn't get the open concept redesign that the Model Y got, which some people might prefer. It's the more traditional console layout. For someone who doesn't need the extra cargo space of an SUV, the Model 3 Standard might be the smarter buy. You save money up front, you get better performance, and you keep a few more features. And sedans are generally more efficient than SUVs, so the range might actually be a bit better in real-world use. Together, these two vehicles give Tesla a really strong 1-2 punch for 2026. The Model 3 captures sedan buyers who want value and performance. The Model Y captures SUV buyers who want practicality and space, both at price points that make them accessible to a much larger market than Tesla's been targeting before. The average new vehicle transaction price in the US is almost $50,000 now. Tesla's putting EVs on the market at $37,000 and $40,000. That's genuinely affordable by today's standards. And when you factor in lower running costs, these vehicles become very attractive. Now, this isn't guaranteed to work. There are real challenges here. First, perception matters. Some people are going to see these standard trims as cheap Teslas, the lack of autopilot, the cloth seats, the simplified features. There's a risk that these feel like budget vehicles, and that hurts the brand. Tesla's betting that most buyers will focus on the core value proposition and not worry about the missing luxury features. Second, service and support. Tesla's service network has been stretched thin at times. If they're successful with these standard trims and volume goes way up, they need to have the service infrastructure to support that. Nothing kills brand loyalty faster than poor service. Third, quality control. Tesla's had issues with build quality and consistency over the years. They've gotten better, but if these standard trims have more problems because they're rushing production to meet demand, that could backfire. Fourth, the macro environment. If there's an economic downturn in 2026, car sales in general could suffer. If gas prices stay low, the incentive to switch to electric might weaken for some buyers. These are external factors Tesla can't control, but the opportunities are massive. The EV market is still in early stages globally. Most people still drive gas cars. If Tesla can capture even a small percentage of people switching from gas to electric, the volume potential is enormous. And Tesla's vertical integration gives them advantages. They make their own batteries, they make their own software, they control the supercharger network. As they scale up, their cost per vehicle should continue to decrease. That gives them room to either maintain margins or pass savings onto customers through lower prices. So, will the Model Y dominate 2026? Here's my take. Tesla just made a smart, strategic move. They identified the biggest barrier to Model Y sales, price, and they addressed it directly. The standard trim brings the Model Y into an affordable range for mainstream buyers while keeping the core features that make it a good vehicle. They're doing this right as the EV market is transitioning from early adopters to mainstream consumers, right as competition is heating up, right as the economic landscape is shifting. The timing is intentional. The Model Y has advantages that are hard to beat. The supercharger network is the best charging infrastructure anywhere. The software and technology are still class-leading. The brand recognition is strong. And now, the price is competitive. Will it be the best-selling vehicle globally in 2026? That depends on a lot of factors, but it's got a very good shot. Tesla sold 1.2 million Model Ys in 2024, even with higher prices and without these new standard trims. With better pricing and broader market access, hitting 1.5 million or more in 2026 seems achievable. The key will be execution. Tesla needs to deliver these vehicles with good quality, provide solid service and support, and maintain the charging infrastructure advantage. If they do that, the Model Y should continue to dominate. One thing's for sure, Tesla's not sitting back and letting competitors catch up. They're being aggressive with pricing and features, they're expanding production capacity, and they're playing to win. 2026 is going to be a really interesting year for the EV market, and the Model Y is positioned right in the center of it. That's the breakdown. If you found this useful, hit that subscribe button, because we're covering all the major developments in the EV space and everything happening with Tesla and the other players. Drop a comment and let me know. Are you considering a Model Y standard, or would you go with a competitor? I'll catch you in the next one.